I'm afraid a lot of times when we try to ask something for God, we immediately have the mindset that we're fighting for it, like Jacob. It shouldn't really be a fight. We should be yielding to him. We shouldn't automatically think that he's trying to withhold anything from us, especially when Scripture says, if he didn't withhold his own son, how much more will he give us all things? Think about that for a sec. What would it cost for you to give up your son or daughter? It'd be like nothing. That would be the very last thing that you would ever give. And yet, God gave his own son for us. So why do you think that he would want to withhold? That's like the first lie given at the Garden of Eden, that God is ever trying to withhold anything from you. He's not. He's trying to make sure that his best for you is going to happen. And so he's trying to get you to voluntarily yield to whatever wants to happen. And so when you pray, are you like always begging for his mercy as though you're still at enmity with God or that you're forgiven? Are you always feeling unworthy? Once again, worth is determined by the buyer. If you were bought at a price of God's only perfect Son, why should you feel unworthy? Who is it that condemns? It's not God, it's not Jesus, it's Satan. So why are you listening to him and trying to hinder your prayers? Otherwise, you're yielding to fear and hopelessness, and those aren't fruits of the Spirit. You're not praying in line with him. For the word says, cast your cares upon the Lord, for he cares for you. Or, if you, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more is he going to give good gifts to you? And don't freak out thinking that somehow God's going to be like Satan and bedazzled, where you ask for a desire and he's going to turn it into a nightmare. Because the very verse before that is, if your son or daughter asks for a loaf of bread, are you going to give him a stone? Or if he asks for an egg, are you going to give him a snake? It's not going to be useless, fruitless, or detrimental when you pray. What you're supposed to be praying for is wisdom. And if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives freely without finding fault, no condemnation, and no earning, no having to become worthy of whatever it is you're praying for. And don't think anything's too big or too crazy. Like I said, he already paid the price with the Son. So, but when you ask, make sure it's not a command. You're not telling God what to do. It's supposed to be a request. And like I said, asking for wisdom. What do I need to do in order to receive this? What's your plan? What do you want me to learn from this experience? Like, why am I here in the first place? This is my starting point. I want to get somewhere. Tell me how to get there. Please guide me. Leave my footsteps. For instance, I was running late to work one day, and I was afraid that I was going to be like an hour late. I was like, God, can you at least give me some green lights or something? And instead of getting a green light, I actually got a call from my boss that day, and he was like, I really want to change your schedule because your coworker, it was a small company, needs to get off early so she can pick up her daughter at school. So I was wondering if she can come like an hour earlier and you can come an hour later, and maybe we could have extended hours without actually having to working long or whatever. And I was like, well, that works out great. I will be there later. So it's like, what are the odds that's going to happen, and how much better is that than green light? Then I don't have to worry about traffic because it's terrible in Houston. But he's going to work it out. You have to have the right attitude that he's for you, not against you. Listen for his instruction, and remember that the result is not dependent on your own human effort. It's dependent on him and then your obedience.